Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video, we are going to set up a few effects into our combat system. Let's go to our Gruntling enemy. Let's search for the Gruntling death animations. And let's add a sound here, like a grunt death sound, which I did include in the course files. Let's add notify sound, play sound, and let's go to course files, sound effects, Gruntling. Here's Guardian Death. Let's create a queue. Call this Guardian underscore death underscore view. Open it up and we can add a random node. And it will randomly play either death 1 or death 2 sound. Let's go back to the Gruntling animation and let's add. I didn't select the correct one. There we go. And just go ahead and copy that and paste that into all the other animations as well, the death animations. Okay, and so you may have noticed an issue here. We have like a compile error. So let's go ahead and fix that really quickly. Let's see, it says there, found more than one function with the same name, rotate to target. Okay, so let's go ahead and fix that. Okay, and so this one is rotate to target. I'm going to say start rotate townline. There we go, and we can add the event rotate target. And this will simply start rotate townline. And there we go. That should fix the issue. For our Frost Giant boss, I have already added some sound effects. For a character effort sound, I used a sound effect from Paragon Rampage. The hammer swing cue is included in the course files. For the character effort, so I'm going to go ahead and select the character effort sound here. With this animation notify, you can just select the sound asset from here that you want to use. For this one in particular, since it's a character effort, I don't want it to play every single time because that would become annoying. So I set the notify trigger chance to 0.5. So that way the character effort sound would happen 50% of the time. And then I did the same thing for all the other animations. And for the rare attack, so I encourage you to experiment with this and just use whatever sounds that you prefer. Right here, whenever his hands are slamming down on the ground, I use the ability Meteor Impact. And I'm also going to add here a particle system. So play particle effect. And this is built into the engine, this animation notify. And the particle effect that we are going to use is going to be from Paragon Rampage. And this one is called P_Rampage _ ice _ lunge _ impact _ enrage. So I'm going to go ahead and select that one. I'm going to make it happen about here, right whenever his hands slam down. See what that looks like. Okay, it's not spawning in the correct location, so what we can do is here is a location offset, and on the y-axis, I think I'm going to set that to something like 300. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, and now one last thing I'd like to add is a camera shake. So to play a camera shake, we're going to need to actually create an animation notify for that. So let's go to combat system, blueprints, anim notifies, and let's create a new animation notify, anim notify. And this will be play camera shake _ AM. Okay, open it up. And let's override the receive notify. Okay, and so the node that we are going to use is play world camera shake. In fact, we probably should rename this animation notify to play world camera shake. In the epicenter, let's get owner from the mesh component, and we will get actor location. Okay, for the outer radius, we can actually, well, we can promote all these to variables if we want to. Okay. And for the outer radius, I'm going to set that something like 1,000. And for the shake class, let's also promote that to a variable. We'll call it shake class. I'm going to move that to the top and make that instance editable. Now we can add the camera shake here to the slam attack. So I'm going to add notify world camera shake. The camera shake class is going to be one that I created. I'm going to use the camera shake large. So if you don't know how to create a camera shake, you simply just create a new blueprint class and you search for shake or camera shake. And the class that I used is matinee camera shake. So you just create that and you open up the shake class and you just adjust the values however you like. And this is just down to whatever you prefer. And I encourage you to play around with these values and see what sort of results you get. Okay, now let's test out those visual effects we added and see how they look in game. And here you can add like a roar sound effect if you want to. You might find one from Rampage. So I have the sound disabled, but okay, that looks pretty good. And as for the impact, blood doesn't really work for this character, so we could try to add something different. Let's see, I believe here in the master AI we have, yes, we have it just set as blood. So what we can do is just promote this to a variable, and we could call this one impact effect, and this one will be impact sound. And we can add both of these to a category and make them instance editable, so you can edit them from instances. And here in the Frost Giant, let's go to class defaults, effects. Okay, so let's find some different impact effect. Okay, for the Frost Giant, I'm going to try out a visual effect from Paragon. Rampage Ice Melee Impact. This is from Paragon Rampage. I'm gonna select that there. And let's see how that looks. Yeah, that looks better than the blood. Okay, so he doesn't have a death animation. Let's also fix that as well. So for the death animation, this character model doesn't have a death animation, so I went ahead and provided one in the course files. Let's go to the folder Infinity Blade Adversaries, Enemy, Frost Giant, Animation, and let's import the death animation. So the animation is exo game troll underscore death. Add this to the Frost Giant Captain skeleton. Import. Okay, okay, the animation is here. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, that looks pretty good. So make sure that root motion is enabled. So make sure you check enable root motion to be true. Now let's create an animation montage and go to the Frost Giant boss and select that for the death animation. Okay, and also right here, near the end of the animation, let's add pause anims animation notify. About here looks pretty good. Okay. Okay, that works pretty good. Okay, and so now we have another issue that we need to adjust is whenever the character dies, he doesn't ragdoll or play any sort of animation. So I'll go ahead and show that to you. So as you can see, the character is now dead, but he's just standing there. So let's go ahead and fix that. And the way we're going to fix that is by adding a death animation to our character. So here in Paragon Gaiden, I believe there are death animations that we can use. Because we don't have a retargeter from Gaiden to Wang, so let's go ahead and go to Paragon Gaiden, Characters, Heroes, Gaiden, Meshes, and hit right click under Animation, IK Retargeter. Okay, this is IK Rig to copy animation from, and that is going to be from Gaiden. We'll just call this one, let's rename it, Gaiden Retargeter. And the target IK rig asset is going to be Clang. Let's see how this works. And that works pretty good. Since we've already done the work to retarget both of these characters, this setup is going to be pretty easy for us. Let's get both of these and let's duplicate anim assets and retarget. Select the guide and retargeter, and let's change the folder location to combat system, course files, animations. Let's create a new folder and we'll call it death. Okay. And now I'm going to add both of these to the combat player character. Let's see, do we have death set up for this character? Death animations? I don't think we do. So let's go to the perform death here. Let's just do the same thing we did for the master AI. We can just copy all of this. Paste it here. So for this, just select do nothing and confirm, because we are not going to need that. Let's create the animation array here. And we're going to put this in the category montages death. And now what we can do is, if the death animation is not empty, then the character will play a death animation. Otherwise, the character will ragdoll. And let's go down here to death animation. And I'm going to select both of them here. Death's back. And death forward. Okay, let's test it out. Okay, that worked. Okay, and so the last thing that we are going to do in this video is whenever the character slams down, we're going to make our character get a knockdown animation. And for the knockdown animation, we're just going to have to use what we have because we don't have any knockdown animation. So let's just use the death back. And this is for a death, so let's duplicate it and modify it a little bit. Let's call this one knockdown underscore anim. Okay, and so we don't need all of this part here. This is just a knockdown, so we should start at about here. Let's remove frames 0 to 34. Okay. Now let's create an animation montage from that. Let's speed up the play rate by 1.5. And that looks a little bit more like a knockdown. And now we need to play a get up animation to make him get back up. So in order to do that, what we're going to do is, let's go to combat system blueprints, anim notifies, and let's create a new animation notify. And we'll call this animation notify play montage underscore an, or actually an underscore play montage. This is just going to play an animation montage. So override the receive notify, and from the mesh component, let's get anim instance. And from anim instance, let's play montage. Montage play. And let's promote all these to a variable. So that way you can adjust them from the animation notify, make them instance editable so we can see them from the animation notify and the animation. And there we go, that should work. Now let's get a get up animation. So let's go here to Quang. This is death. Let's create a new folder and call that knockdown. Let's get both of these and let's move that into knockdown. Now, Paragon Quang should have an animation for getting back up that we can use. I believe it is deep breath intro. So we could try to use this one. It's not exactly made for this sort of mechanic, but we just have to use what we have. So we'll trim out all this part of the animation. We're going to remove frame 0 to 45. And we'll trim it down to just getting up. Let's create a montage. And here at the end, call the an underscore play montage. Okay, oh, that is the wrong one. We don't need to add that here. I meant to add a combat reset. Let's add the reset notify here, reset combat. Let's rename this to knockdown get up, knockdown underscore get up underscore montage. And here on the knockdown animation, about here, let's run the AM play montage. The montage that we want to play is the get up montage. And select that here. Since I'm using two different animations that aren't meant to work together, I'm going to hopefully use blending to make it look better. Okay, and so now let's add a key to debug and test this. Just use tab. Let's play in a montage. The animation montage that we are going to play is knockdown. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, yeah, as you can see, the blending is making it a little bit difficult. So I'm going to try to adjust the blending here. Let's try 0.1 for blend in and see what that looks like. Okay, yeah, that definitely didn't help. Let's try that to 0.3. It may be, we may not be able to get it to look good. And that looks better. These animations aren't meant to work together, so this definitely isn't going to be ideal, but I mean, it's going to work, and this will give you sort of an idea of how you can do a knockdown system. But we need to disable the character's movement. Okay, so this is running the knockdown get up here. So what we need to do to fix this is let's open notify blueprint and let's just get owner and cast to character. There we go, that has the issue fixed. And now let's add the animation notify. Let's add a new track. Let's call it disable movement. Just run it through the whole duration of the animation. Copy that. And we can also play it on the get up as well. Let's add track, paste it here. We'll run it until about here. Okay, let's try that out. Okay, that works pretty good. Except for that part of the animation. You could probably remove the rest of the animation. You honestly probably don't need it. Let's open asset. Remove the rest starting here. Move frame 43 to 68. Let's save all and open up the get up animation. Okay, so to fix that, just move that like that. There we go. Yeah, that works a lot better. Okay, now let's get the enemy to apply a knockdown to our character. So in order to do that, what we can do is let's go to combat system blueprints and notifies, and let's create a new animation notify. We'll call it apply radial damage _8. Receive notify, and from here let's apply radial damage. And let's promote this to a variable. And for the origin, let's socket location. The in-socket name, we're going to promote that to a variable, and we're going to call this location socket name. Damage radius, let's promote that to a variable. Damage type class. Ignore actors, let's make array. And from here we get owner. Plug that in like that. Damage causer is going to be the owner. Instigated by, we're instigated by controller. Let's get controller. Yeah, controller. Let's make all this instance editable. And now let's see here, damage radius. I'm going to put that by default as 300. Okay, now let's go to our Frost Giant boss. Let's find the attacks, rare attack, and open that up. Okay, so instead of doing the collision trace, instead let's try the radial damage here. The base damage is going to be, let's try 25 for now. Location socket, let's create a socket here. Let's just create it on the root, I guess. We'll call this one explosion socket. And I'm going to move it up here to where the explosion is. Copy the name here and paste that into the location socket. Damage type class is going to be, for now, let's just do BP_attack type damage and see if, okay, and to get this to work on the player character, let's go to the combat player character blueprint, and here's our damage. Let's just event radial damage. Now, you want to just go ahead and copy all of this, or actually it would probably be easier to create a custom event, receive damage, and let's get a float. This is the damage amount and damage type. This one will be controller. Div type controller here. This will be called instigated by. Need hit result. Hit result. Okay, compile and save. And let's go ahead and move all these over. Okay. And now this one we will run receive damage. We can run that for both of them. Okay, there we go. Go ahead and compile and save. Now let's see what happens now. Okay, that works. So let's go back to the animation. Now let's change this to knockdown attack type damage. So this will cause a knockdown whenever the player gets hit by that. We can go into our perform knockdown here. We actually already have that set up. We should just be able to change the animation here. We have knockdown back and knockdown front. Let's go find our Quake animations. Do we have this knockdown? Where did we put this knockdown? I think it's combat system, course files, animations. Should be a knockdown in here somewhere. Here's knockdown. Okay. Okay, and so for the knockdown montage, let's go to knockdown front and let's change that to knockdown. This will be knockdown and a montage. This one also will add knockdown and a montage. Okay, let's see what sort of results we get. Okay, that works pretty good. We got our knockdown working. Okay, I think this is a good stopping point. In this video, we have set up combat effects such as death animations, impact effects, sound effects, and additional kinds of hit reactions such as a knockdown. In the next video, we are going to set up block and heal mechanics.